Hi and hello. Welcome to the Fortinus Events Global Podcast Series, where we explore the evolving realities of HR, leadership, and workforce transformation across industries. I'm your host, Rashika, and today we are joined by someone with extensive experience leading HR in highly operational and complex environment. So today I am pleased to welcome Maruthuraj Uthaya Kumar, Head of Human Resources at Careclinics Healthcare Services Sdn Bhd. So, Maruthuraj, thank you for joining us today. So, to start off, could you please briefly introduce yourself and share a little bit about your current role at Careclinics Healthcare?
Hi, and thank you for having us for the event. I'm Raj, HR of Careclinics. I care about early 200 clinics across Malaysia with approximately few thousand employees on the ground. I've been in HR for more than 15 years across banking, consulting, and teardown. Most of my work today is figuring out how to build a ecosystem that scales without breaking. And that would be the objective to the organization in HR. I've been
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much, Raj, for the introduction. So now let's jump into our discussion. Okay, to start off, Raj, you have led a HR across more than 200 clinics and workforce of 2,000 employees that you mentioned. So, from your experience, what are some of the biggest realities of HR leadership that organizations often underestimate?
I've been Okay, great question. The biggest reality in HR in a frontline environment is not a support function. I think we have to get that right. It's an operational function. That's our ability sheet. And most HR frameworks are not built for that, right? To be honest. Beyond managing 200 units, your HR divisions hit the ground within hours. A policy change affects how a doctor shows up to work tomorrow morning. A compensation decision affects whether a clinic is fully staffed or running short next week. There is no buffer between HR and operation. We are safety. More organizations underestimate is the speed at which people decisions cascade due to distributed or frontline environment. In a complex setting, you may take 3 weeks to consult on a policy. Uh, However, in a kid networks, you take 3 weeks and you only lost 3 managers and rating 2 grievances. Here, it's almost so fast that by the time we announce, it's cascaded to almost all of our employees on the bar. And actions are taken very quickly. Yeah. The second thing they underestimate is the knowledge gap between our HG and on the ground. I see beautiful design picture policies that concretely fail apart at a clinic level. Not because the members are competent, but because the policy was written by people who had never worked a 12-hour clinical shift. That gap is dangerous and it compounds over time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Understand? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Raj, for the response for that. The next question is, you have spoken about the disconnect that can sometimes exist between HR policies and operational realities. So, in your experience, where do HR strategies most commonly break down when applied at scale? And how can leaders bridge that gap more effectively?
Okay, another great question. Okay. They break down at 3 points consistent. This is through my experience putting in all industries. The first is when a policy is written without professional input. That is where a first period say. You end up with an SOP that is technically correct and frankly practically unusable. Managers really smile at Bobet to do what they were doing before. Basically, that's the reality of the law, right? The second is where enforcement replaces investigation. Sometimes, something's late. HR's first next day is to issue a warning letter and to close the door. But if the sanity keeps breaking at multiple sites, the volume is not the answer. understanding why it keeps happening is we spend a long hours, the long time in our early bird space is taking patterns or individual misconducts. That costs us a lot of manager stress. Uh, the third is when communication is designed for the announcement, not for the person receiving. Right? Restructuring, policy change, new processes. HR communicates what is changing and not what it means to the person, right? And employees stop listening the moment they realize that question is not going to get answered. So the main point is when we are doing something, we should have a strong data on the ground so we know what we are trying to deliver reaches the ground and is effective enough to move the company to another scale.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Raj, for that. So, would you say that the challenge is more about execution, communication, or designing policies without enough operational input from the ground level?
Like I said, it it may break at any of these three key points.
Mhm.
Designing a policy without ground input is the first failure. Uh, communicating without a valuable message or how it impacts the lives of the people is the second one. And third, blindly looking at policies or SOPs as a piece of paper that is enforcement is the final stage where it breaks. So, all three points must be looked into where addiction is going to make, where we have people who really genuinely wants to contribute for the company. However, because of certain reasons, it might fail, right? So, as a HR, for me, we have to make them, they have to first understand what they are going through in order for us to be able to support them at it.
Understand? So you need to treat all those trees as a whole, so it will not break into something bigger, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Even if you miss one, the entire process waits.
Understand? Okay, thank you, Raj, for that. Now, our next question is leading the integration of 100 acquired clinics is a massive transformation affair, or would I say 200? So, what? Okay, so what were some of the biggest people and culture challenges during that journey, and what leadership lessons did it teach you about organizational design and integration?
Okay. Okay. So the story is hard to convey. It's difficult for me to put it in words. 3 years of hard work, sleepless nights, and also running around. Right. That's the results that we get today. Right. Approximately 1,000 employees exo in a single operating model. Right. So different pay structure, different culture, different expectation of what the employer relationship with like all of that landing on HR teams so that we are also running on a daily operation, right? Right. So the merger became part of our daily routine, basically, right? The biggest people challenge was not the structural stuff, grading policies or contracts. That was not the biggest challenge. We could work those two. The hardest part was identity, right? The playlist where the clinic is acquired, the staff who had been there for years suddenly looking for a different organization. Managers might change, their processes might change, and nobody asked them how we feel about it because the deal was already signed, right? We made mistakes early on. We are not perfect. We moved too fast at policy transformation, harmonizations, to basically speed here, right? The EC wants to standardize everything immediately. So please bringing people into the same system and structure and same rules. What we learn is that standardizing policy before holding trust creates compliance without buying. People follow the process on paper and resist it in practice. The tension is expensive to undo. On organizational design specifically, I learned that structure follows clarity, not the other way around, right? So you cannot design a pre-organization structure for an integration until everyone's clear on who owns what in change of what. We spent a lot of time early on designing the structure around people we had, rather than around decisions that needed to be made. That produced an organization structure that looked logical or operated chaotically. So at the end of the day, the lesson learned for us was we need to look at the people first, understand what they are going to, because they are people who's going to be running with the SOP, the daily operation, all that stuff. So trust comes first, harmonization comes later. So that's the policy that we follow, right?
Understand? Okay, so I would say I could conclude that trust is your number one belief that you need to execute. Okay.
When it comes to budgets.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Raj, for the response. Okay, next question is okay, so you describe yourself as a first principles thinker who believes organizations should be process driven rather than people dependent. So now, how does that philosophy influence the way you approach talent management, succession planning, and workforce sustainability?
Uh, Correct. So I'm a core believer. Is simple. If your organization only moves before specific individuals or in specific posts, you do not have an organization. You had a collection of dependencies, and every one of those dependencies is a resignation letter away from becoming a crisis. Right. So I see this pattern that appreciate roster knowledge that lives in one person's head, aesthetic calculation that only one finance person understands, operational coordination that once because a specific manager has a specific relationship with a specific unit. Right? These look like strength where the person is there. They are catastrophic where it is. So where I approach talent management, the first question I ask is not who is the best person for this role. It is if this person like tomorrow, would the role continue to function? If the answer is no, the talent strategy has a gap, regardless of how strong the individual is. Right? For workforce sustainability, the same principle applies. We build unified performance framework, standardized KPIs, responsibility matrices, governance law, not to control people more, but to reduce pressure. So that when growth happens fast and when people inevitably move on, the organization does not have to rebuild from scratch and will. I want to be honest about something that this philosophy is not about devaluing people. The best organizations I have seen are the ones where strong system enables strong people to do more. The process-driven approach frees people from being trapped in firefighting mode. It gives them space to actually contribute at the level they was highest for. Right? That placing more value and contribution from the individual to the company.
And so you value your people more by allowing them to keep on improving and growing, so they would stay on in the organization. Yeah. Yes. Understand. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Raj, for that. So, last but not least, with your strong focus on workforce analytics and organizational design, how do you see data shaping the future of HR decision making over the next few years, especially in operationally complex industries like healthcare?
Excellent and future focused question, right? To be very honest, I'll call myself as a baby boomer millennial, right? I work with people who are doing actual HR work, which is human nature. But the current state, data is everything, right? We have managements who are from charities, AI that's coming into place, which makes things much more complicated, right? But the honest starting point is that most HR are still making decisions based on instinct and historical precedents, less a strategy. Right? Data will change that, right? But probably more slower than people expect, and not in the way most people think. The new turn shift I really is already seeing is moving from lagging indicators to leading ones. Right? Turnover rate is a lagging indicator because it tells you what already happened. Right? Engagement patterns, absence plus away, in internal mobility rates, time to fill by category. These are leading indicators. Okay? They tell you what is about to happen if you do not act. That shift from reporting on the past to anticipate the future is where data changes the nature of HR conversation at the leadership level. In healthcare specifically, the sting of getting a workforce division wrong are unusually high. One wrong division can collapse the entire operation. A staffing gap does not hit a productivity matrix. It hits patient care. So the case of predictive workforce analytics in healthcare is stronger than in most industries. If I can see 3 months out, that a cluster of clinic is likely to face a staffing shortage based on current patterns, I have a very different set of opinion that if I find out the week it happens. Right. The other shift I'm watching is the role of AI in reducing administrative overhead for HR. Right. Not replacing HR judgment. Okay. Reducing the time spent on tasks that do not require it. It's scheduling, document generation, basic theory resolution, compliance tracking. But if those things are automated, HR professionals have more time for work that actually requires human judgment. Difficult conversations, complex employee situation, organizational design decisions, right? This is the version of AI in HR that excites me. Whereas what I'm less excited about, to be very obvious, is the version where organizations use AI as a reason to cut HR headcounts before they have built the analytical capability to replace what those people were doing. In a short-term cost saving, with a long-term organizational debt attached to it. So if they ask where you are in an analytical journey, right? Uh, I would say I'm not at advanced level, right? I'm still learning, right? However, uh, I have actually set up a very strong base for my team and also for my organization to kind of have the predictive metrics for all learning. How do I say workforce management, workforce analytics, and all this stuff. So, yeah, in fact, but at least I have started somewhere. So it will help us in the long run. Yeah.
Understand? So what I could conclude is AI it cannot and it will never can replace human touch. So you will still need people, people with feelings, with genuine feelings to operate your organization.
Absolutely right. Without a human touch, there we are in a scene where we are taking care of providing care to humans. I don't expect that to happen. When I'm doing that for my patients, why am I not doing that for my own staff?
Correct. Because we need to operate with empathy, not just using the system to determine what's right and wrong.
Correct. It can help us to make the right decision, but it could not replace us.
Correct. Yes. Indeed. Okay, thank you so much, Raj. That's a powerful perspective, especially as organizations continue to balance operational demands with long-term workforce sustainability. Everyone, we are excited to have Maruthuraj joining us as one of the speakers at the CHRO and HR Leaders Summit Malaysia 2026 happening this June 11th in KL. So, Raj, do you have anything else to say?
I'm more than excited to be joined in this summit, and I hope I see my fellow colleagues from every other industries to join this event and share ideas and thoughts so we can make each other a much more stronger community across Malaysia and the world. Yeah. See you later.
All right. Thank you so much, Raj. To everyone tuning in, thank you so much for tuning us. We'll see you in the next episode and see you guys at the summit. Thank you so much, Raj. See you at the summit. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.